Have you ever felt like the world around you is just spinning out of control? Like everything is getting darker and more chaotic? Imagine living in a time when things were so bad, so completely off the rails, that the creator of the universe decided to hit the reset button. But in the midst of all that chaos, one man stood out. This is the incredible story of Noah, a man who built a boat in the desert and saved the world. Let's travel back in time. The world was full of people who had forgotten their way. They were consumed by wickedness and violence, completely turning their backs on goodness. Seeing this, God was heartbroken. He saw the corruption and decided that a great cleanse was needed, a flood that would wash the earth clean. But God is also merciful. He saw one man, Noah, who was righteous and walked with him. God chose to save Noah and his family. So God gave Noah a mission that must have sounded absolutely insane. He said, "Noah, I want you to build a massive boat, an ark. Make it out of gopher wood, seal it inside and out with pitch, and follow these exact dimensions: 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high, with 3 decks. Imagine your neighbors seeing you build a giant ship in the middle of dry land." People probably laughed, mocked him, and called him crazy. There wasn't a cloud in the sky, no sign of rain whatsoever. But Noah's faith was unshakable. He didn't question. He didn't doubt. He simply trusted God and got to work, building the ark exactly as he was told. As the massive structure neared completion, God gave Noah another set of instructions. "Bring your family into the ark," he said, "and with you, 2 of every kind of living creature, male and female, so they can survive." For the animals considered clean, he was to bring 7 pairs. Can you picture it? A grand procession of every animal you can imagine: lions, giraffes, elephants, tiny hummingbirds, and slithering snakes, all peacefully making their way, 2 by 2, into the ark. It was a zoo like no other, all gathered under Noah's care. Once Noah, his family, and all the animals were safely inside, God himself shut the door. And then it began. The sky, which had been clear for so long, opened up. Rain started to fall, not for a few hours or a few days, but for 40 days and 40 nights without stopping. The springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were opened. The water rose higher and higher, covering the fields, the towns, and eventually even the tallest mountains. Everything and everyone outside the safety of the ark was swept away. But inside, Noah and his family were safe, floating on the very waters of judgment, protected by their obedience and God's promise. For 150 days, the water covered the earth. The ark drifted on the endless ocean. Finally, God sent a wind, and the waters began to recede. The ark gently came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. After many more weeks, Noah wanted to see if the land was dry. He first sent out a raven, which flew back and forth. Then he sent out a dove, but it returned, finding no place to rest. A week later, he sent the dove out again. This time, it came back in the evening, and in its beak was a freshly plucked olive leaf. It was a sign of life, a symbol of new beginnings. The flood was over. When the earth was finally dry, God told Noah, "Come out of the ark, you and your family, and all the animals with you." As they stepped onto the fresh, clean earth, Noah built an altar and gave thanks to God for their salvation. In response, God made a beautiful and everlasting promise, a covenant. He promised that he would never again destroy all life with a flood. And as a sign of this unbreakable promise, he placed a magnificent rainbow in the clouds. So now, every time we see a rainbow, we are reminded of God's faithfulness, his mercy, and his promise of hope and a new beginning. What an incredible story of faith, obedience, and redemption. It shows that even in the darkest of times, trusting in a higher purpose can lead to salvation. If you enjoyed this story, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next journey into the greatest stories ever told. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.